Altcoins are this close to be going parabolic. All that hard work and patience we have been exhibiting over the last 12 or more months is finally about to pay off. Now, mark my words, most of us watching this video and here today won't make it, especially those of you who it's your first cycle, because you won't be listening to videos like this one, where I'll be describing the ways in which you can capitalize on this and things you must be doing before it is too late. Most people require one cycle to make a bunch of mistakes and they learn for the next one. Please don't make that mistake. Listen attentively today. I'm here to help you because I don't think we have too much more time left before we begin moving up. Fear and Greed Index right now is 73. We're in the greed section, guys. Everyone's feeling happy. Guess what? A week ago, everyone was extremely sad and depressed. Crypto has amnesia. The faster you figure out that whales and the guys that are controlling this industry, and yes, they are controlling it, are here to make you feel a certain way before flipping that the next day or the next week, it is completely obvious, all right? So you may have felt like calling it quits last week or the last few days. Now you're feeling like you want to put more money in. Just remember, build everything off facts and data, not your emotions, because they are trying to manipulate your emotions into doing the wrong thing. I'm going to show you today we have a lot to look forward to, massive stuff coming up for Bitcoin, massive global events happening, and of course, when altcoins are going to go insanely parabolic. But of course, before we get into it, guys, don't forget, hit that like button. It tells me you enjoy this content. Spending personally over 20,000 hours worth of research in crypto, finding out the do's, the don'ts, and losing a lot of money along the way. I'm bringing you this content on a daily basis to help you. Okay, that's the number one purpose on this channel here. And by that, subscribe, because you won't find this too many places on crypto YouTube. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves and start thinking, hey, everyone's greedy again, we're all feeling great, the bull run's back on, Bitcoin's almost at $70,000 again, and altcoins have been moving up since meme coins are pretty in favor right now. Things are back to normal again. We're on. Well, don't actually say or think that just yet. I'm going to explain to you a very important trigger that you will be easily able to grasp, and therefore explain it to your cat, your dog, or any sort of inanimate object, and have them even explain it to one of your friends. It's going to be that easy. What you have to understand, guys, is there are a couple of triggers or events that occur in the crypto bull run that has happened back in 2017 and back in 2021 that actually gave altcoins their initial pump up. From data, from history, things could be different this time, but from history, we are waiting for this to happen, which hasn't happened just yet. Let me explain. Now, Bitcoin's market dominance is in orange, while the global market cap is in black. The global market cap is just to give you an idea of where we were in the last cycle, right? Where the global market cap once was. Obviously, over here was the 3 trillion global market cap all-time high we had. Now, you can see here, Bitcoin actually had an initial rally in its dominance, which means that it soaked up most of the market cap of the whole crypto space at a given point in time. So what happened was it actually soaked it up quite a lot, going as high as having 72% of the entire crypto market cap. That is almost 3/4 of the entire crypto market cap, all in Bitcoin. This event occurred from about a 58% market dominance, you can see over here, and kind of rallied initially, took this 70%-ish market dominance, and then fell rapidly all the way down to 40% market dominance. This dumping occurred in 134 days or 4.5 months. Now, a pretty similar thing happened back in 2017. It was a bit weird back then because, it was a much smaller market and Bitcoin was most of crypto back then, but we can actually see this play out as well. It just happened on a much larger time frame back in 2021. The lows of about 50%, similar to where it was before at 58%, and then a rally up to about 70%, and then it dumped way down to just below 40%. You can see some correlation here, about 50% going to 70%, from 70% to 40%. These 3 things have occurred in the last 2 cycles. The only difference is, back in 2017, it only happened in 37 days or 1.5 months rather than 4 months. So to keep this simple, by what we've seen very, very briefly here, Bitcoin must break above 70% market dominance to create the bull run, because notice what happens in the initial pump is that when Bitcoin's dominance goes from low to high, it causes the initial spike. It actually causes the initial spike. You can see from down here to here, all right, it creates that initial interest. From down here, from COVID, it creates the initial interest. So again, what we are specifically looking for here is Bitcoin's market dominance to be around the 50% level, which, as we'll see in a second, is where we are right now, spike to about 70%. And then after that initial sort of surge has been created and Bitcoin soaks up most of the crypto market cap, we can expect a crash down to about 40%. But interestingly enough, the 40% mark coincidentally coincides with the new all-time high of each cycle. Down here, 38%. Guess what? We put in that high at the exact same time. My lines aren't that straight, but you guys get the idea. If I go and Control-Z all of this, you can see here that when Bitcoin actually had it crashed in at 40%, we had that all-time high. Now, it wasn't the exact all-time high, but what we're looking for here is the first initial push. We know we'll be in a bull run then. Whatever happens underneath that, we can analyze in the moment, in real time. So what we need and want is Bitcoin to pump first. Then, as we'll see in a second here, we want ETH to pump after that. This will enable enough profits for the big boys to speculate then on altcoins, and ultimately, it's going to cause and siren the initial interest in crypto, which all has to come from the top dog and then the second dog, and then from there, it's all fun and games. Now, we're going to add one more flavor into this mix. So obviously, Bitcoin's market dominance, orange, global market cap, black. We're going to add in a purple line here. This purple line you can see is Ethereum's market dominance. Like I said, we have to have Ethereum. Therefore, once Bitcoin begins falling in terms of market share, have to have Ethereum replace that position as the leading project. It has to soak up the dominance. Money flows out of Bitcoin, it's got to go somewhere, right? That typically has been historically Ethereum. So we can see Bitcoin falling here from 72.5%, falling down to 40%. So at the exact same time Bitcoin tops out, we can see that Ethereum has pretty much bottomed out at sort of a local low, if you will. Now, at that same time, it's at 10.5% and it spikes. As Bitcoin is falling here, it spikes to 17.5%, okay? So it has that massive initial push before falling down again and then spiking back up again. Now, interestingly, it falls down with Bitcoin at a certain point. Now, this is important to know because as Ethereum begins falling after its first pump, after Bitcoin begins falling, there is a real good reason as to why it does this. It does this to make way for, guess what, our favorite of all, altcoins. Okay, so let me show you. At that point, again, Ethereum begins going up. Like I said, the reason it falls is because most of the money at that point in time goes into this red line. This red line is altcoins excluding the top 10. So you can see here, Ethereum creates that first push. It kind of encourages altcoins to begin moving up. And then once altcoins begin really pulling money out of Ethereum and Bitcoin, they go parabolic, going from 6% market dominance up to 17%, which is insane. And then, of course, up to the total over here, which is 19% at the all-time high. It's incredible, okay? So essentially, what we're looking at here is the altcoin waterfall, where money flows into Bitcoin first, gains a lot of attention, then into Ethereum, then into large caps. And from our large caps, we begin finding areas of interest. And then from there, you know, your small caps, mid caps, micro caps begin pumping. So for those of you who are a little bit more keenly interested, before I move on here into some correlations, what it seems to me is that Bitcoin and altcoins are inversely correlated. So Bitcoin here and altcoins are like the complete opposite, okay? They do the opposite thing, and that makes total sense. Bitcoin is kind of like a hardened asset where it's like the grandfather, like digital gold, if you will. So it's seen as more stable and reliable. So of course, altcoins are the opposite. Okay, altcoins are seen as risky and very volatile, even though Bitcoin's volatile as well. These are the complete opposites, if you will. And also over here, Ethereum seems to help altcoins historically. Ethereum will likely move first, as we see. Obviously, altcoins take a bit of time to sort of react. But once confidence is pushed into Ethereum from Bitcoin, we can see here that alts begin to react. Then Ethereum takes, sort of the back seat, and then alts begin to rise. But Ethereum isn't too far behind alts at that point in time. So, guys, here is what you have to look out for to keep it nice and simple and very brief. 1, Bitcoin pushes to 70% dominance. So right now we're at 58%. Okay, back over here, we were at basically 58% as well. We're looking for the push up to and above 70%. At that same time, we can expect ETH to plateau. So while Bitcoin's going up over here, we can expect ETH to sort of move sideways a little bit, maybe slightly move up, while altcoins suffer insanely. Okay, so while this is all happening, Bitcoin's up, ETH moving sideways, alts might actually begin going down. Initially now, they might go up, but I think history will prove itself again, and we probably will pull down a bit on alts because money has to go into Bitcoin somehow. After Bitcoin punches up to 70%, which is the number I'm looking for here specifically, as you can see, the second thing is for Bitcoin to fall in any which way down to bottoming at about 40%-ish. When it bottoms at 40%, we can expect a new all-time high to form in the global market cap, which is interesting, as I'll point out here in a second, because if you think about it, you'd think the global crypto market cap, Bitcoin would have most of the market cap dominance. But no, at our all-time high in the last cycle was $2.9 trillion, you would think that Bitcoin would have 50% of that market cap share. Actually, no, historically, it's about 40% or even less. So that means that most of the market will be in, guess what? ETH and alt, and that's proven here. Again, ETH has moved sideways. ETH will have to spike during this time as well, that first initial push up. And like I said, altcoins end up following ETH's lead and going up. Again, this is the new all-time high for crypto. This is the actual final all-time high for that previous cycle. And you'll notice two colors here in both circumstances. So what that means is Bitcoin being way down here, most of the money is in ETH and alt, which means if you think about it, alt and ETH are going to be likely the best sort of money makers of the bull run. Again, Bitcoin will likely take precedence first. If you're a savvy investor, you'll likely take your profits from Bitcoin and then throw that into some altcoins, non-financial advice, and also Ethereum for the rest of the cycle. Again, some important points to note, guys. Right now, we are at that magic 58% level where we pretty much bottomed out over here before pushing to 70% and then all the way down. The same thing was in the previous cycle as well, way back over here in like 2017, 2018. We had pretty much around that same level, 58% here, 58% here, and we kind of tagged it down here. And I think this chart here best describes what I'm sort of talking about. From the halving, which are these green lines, Bitcoin actually had that all-time high peak into this green zone, the green zone here being the point in which Bitcoin pretty much maxes out its dominance. And this happened after 500 days in 2017/2018. In 2021, this happened after 236 days. And this cycle so far, again, pulling that same sort of time frame out, we're going to expect this to happen sometime, I'd pretty much say early 2025, which would make a lot of sense before, of course, then pulling down. Now, this occurred back here in 2017, 372 days. In the last cycle, 110 days. So I'm expecting this to have already happened over here at about 58%. But interestingly, what you'll find is in both of the previous cycles from the halving, we actually fell in Bitcoin's dominance first before then moving up to 70% and then back down again. Now, this didn't happen. We didn't have a retracement for Bitcoin's dominance after the halving. I believe it's because we have the ETFs, of course, this time around, and we're already at lows. We're already down here. There's no point for us to fall down to 50, 58%, if you will, if we are already trading in this area, okay? Again, the market's a bit different this time. We have a lot more altcoins around there, and Bitcoin hasn't really been performing as expected to, I think, so far. There's a whole multitude of reasons as to why this could be, but I do think, again, this time is slightly different because of what I've just mentioned. Either way, the red zone here best represents the fact of when we can expect a new all-time high to happen. Again, around the 40% mark, we can expect this to have, roughly speaking, the cycle highs, if you will. Okay, that's when Bitcoin bottoms out. Why I'm mentioning all this, guys, we have so much supportive evidence of this bull run happening. Cryptos R Us put this great post out recently as well. Guys, Bitcoin on exchanges is falling, which means it's going on chain, which means people are wanting to buy more and more. House of Crypto here posting a lot about the M2 money supply. As he mentioned, we are 83% correlated, as you can see here, has gone parabolic recently. This follows like a 4-year global liquidity index. And so far, Bitcoin's been following that pretty well on the spot under the guise of these halving events, if you will. Not to mention the piece of resistance, in my personal opinion, is the 18-year property cycle. We are in the winner's curse, a moment in time which we go parabolic with housing market prices, bringing and restoring confidence back into people before likely we come down after 2026. But we still have time. We still have time. Now, not just that, of course, we also have the election year as well. This could be great for the price of Bitcoin and crypto, but I do want to quickly touch on part of the reason why I'm making this video, which is what you must be preparing to do, guys. I want to say this for the record. Please do not be one of them people that chases the hype, especially around these meme coins, guys. Get into meme coins, do what you want with your money. I don't really care all too much where you put your money. But what I don't want you to do is follow the trend. When Murad, the guy kind of pushing this whole meme coin hype and super cycle theory, when he posted this the other day, I thought to myself, hang on, he's posting this. How many people would be going and buying these coins trying to front run everyone else because of the meme coin hype? A lot. And I want to point out what Becca said over here, which is whatever your strategy is, memes, games, whatever, if you're chasing or FOMO into whatever is hot, you're doomed. The people making giant gains in memes, gaming, AI bought 6+ months ago and are now holding and doing nothing. Please do not be one of them people that catches the end trail of whatever's happening in whatever narrative. Find that wave before there's any interest, sit in a decent altcoin and wait. Okay, please don't be someone who goes out there and just follows the hype. That was me in the last cycle, and guess what? I lost a lot of money. I see it all the bloody time. But it's not just that, guys. I think one of the most important things that your entire crypto portfolio completely stems from is what you want out of the market, your goals. Now, my personal goals in crypto is to own a whole bunch of properties and to have some cash left over for the next bull run, plus a bit of money to go into other business endeavors. The point here being, I'm not looking to buy a Corvette. Now, you can do what you want with your own money. Your goals might be completely different to mine. Maybe you don't have any goals. I would suggest materializing your goals. Okay, so for me, I have to crunch some numbers. I want to buy X amount of properties and have X amount of down payment on each property to allow me to make some passive income after this crypto bull run. Because let's be cynical here for a second. Let's say crypto's next bull run doesn't happen, or if it does happen, okay, it's going to be steady year-on-year growth, and that ultimately means we're not going to make a 10x. That shit is no longer possible, okay? Let's just be cynical. Now, what I need you to think about here is not buying a nice new Corvette or not spending any money on a new Rolex or some crazy stupid thing just because you want to spend some money. Think of goals that are going to generate you passive income or allow you to be financially free in the long term. The only situation I see this not appealing to, or applying to rather, is if you want to retire off this money and just live a comfortable life until your end. Okay, that's pretty much it. I think if you're somewhat young, your 40s, 50s, 60s even, maybe possibly think about here ways in which you can, look for goals that are going to get you some of that money over the course of time. Now, what this means is property, stocks, maybe reinvesting some of that money back into crypto, whatever your sort of plan or strategy might be around getting passive income. Again, one of mine is actually going out there and creating a few businesses, trying to spend money on new businesses, right? Create cash flow. And so why I'm saying this is because everything stems from your goals. If you need to make $5 million out of this bull run and you've put in $50,000, you need a 100x. From that there, you can then go to yourself, I need to find altcoins that will get me 100x. All stems back from that. Now, everyone wants 1,000x. Everyone wants to make $1 billion. Friend to friend, to just hit your targets, hit your goals. Think about this now, because I wanted a nice Corvette. Believe it or not, guys, I actually had in my goal setting here, I wanted to buy a Corvette, 450 grand. And I thought to myself, is that something that I should be focusing on as a 25-year-old trying to be financially free? We want it. Everyone wants a nice new car, but no. Okay, so I decided to get rid of that, allow me to shave off like a 1 or 2 more multiples off the top side of my portfolio. So rather than looking for a 12x, I was looking for a 10x. That is so much more safer. And with that 10x, I can go out and actually buy the properties I want to buy, have some cash to reinvest into crypto, and then, of course, go out and do a whole bunch of other stuff that will generate me passive income. So just be realistic with these goals. Make sure you set them. All stems back from there. That's all I'm going to say today. Please be careful. Do that before it's too late. Do that before you set yourself and lock yourself into altcoins that you don't actually need to be in, that are too risky, that might be meme coins or micro caps or small caps. But in reality, you might just look for either 5x or a 10x, which you can do in much safer altcoins. But you must look to do this now. You can't afford to make the timely mistake of figuring this out in 8 months when it's too late. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I'm passionate because I love you guys and I want you guys to succeed. All right, it's as simple as that. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.